It was been a little while since the second episode I dropped, and that's because I've just been real busy, been real active, been on the go, like most of us. But I've been trying to figure out how to balance out rest and lifestyle and all the creative stuff I've been trying to pursue. But in the meantime, of course, there's been a lot of conversations, a lot of really good conversations with some of the people, my friends and acquaintances, people within the cafe, all that kind of stuff. And to be honest, I don't have the microphone and the equipment I would like to use for future episodes. All I really need is a good directional mic, or even two, podcast mics, because I have a Tascam and I want to be able to get quality audio and be able to have proper interviews and all that. But I'm still trying to save up money for that, and when the time's right, I'll be able to get some better stuff. But for now, the mic I'm using has been working for sure the solo stuff, like the stream of thought stuff. But this episode is going to be kind of like an accumulation of like 2 or 3 different conversations. One I had with Madison Mitchell, a good friend of mine, been my friend for, I guess, going on like 8 years now, ever since high school. And then, of course, the homie Sin that I've been kicking it with, who I've been working on this film with. And we actually start talking about the film, the one I've been promoting on my account. It took me about, this story, Samhain, and it's pronounced Samhain, Samhian. And Samhain is the ancient Celtic tradition of paying homage to the dead during October, which, so it kind of roots within the Celtic pagan sacrificial practices, which over time, as Christianity is involved, Halloween started arising because of how the church took it and used it as All Hallows Eve, and to be hollow is to be saint-like, and so it was a reverence of the saints that they kind of transformed it into. But we kind of talk about more so the dynamic between Ruth and Ray, which are these two characters, one Latino and the other African American. Ideally, somewhere on the streets of Dallas, probably Oak Cliff or something like that. That have this conflict, but in the context of Halloween. And so, this is what I've been trying to pursue and trying to create for the past 3 or 4 years now. And it took me about 3 years to manifest this story. You can see all of the mission statement, the treatment, the backstory on the account that's in my bio. And I've been trying to raise money for this. And in the meantime, we've been doing a lot of monologue work and just character study stuff, because I want to be able to create stuff that is obviously all great cinema is great acting. I want someone to give me something, and I think I've been proud of my homie Sim because he's been actually putting in the effort. And so we need Ray to finish the film, really, so we can start getting the chemistry between those characters. And if you listen to this and you're interested in, hit me up. If you're an African American male, the character Ray is also akin to your classic cliche SoundCloud rapper. Like, this is the kind of epitome and the archetype that not only you're seeing obviously everywhere on the internet, and respect to everybody who's doing they work in that field, but there's a lot of them. You know what I mean? Like, hip hop is. It's not a new craft, people, the Grays have been doing this for a minute now. So but it's akin to some of the people that I know and that I've met, in my times in high school, and some of the homies we've been kicking it with, here in DFW. That's what I'm trying to represent. Like, I'm trying to tell that story in the context of a Judeo-Christian, pagan, Gnostic, esoteric, occult understanding of where we're at in the modern era, because we still have the church within society. We still have Christianity within society, and this is my this is my passion, my goal is to, how can we relate this fundamental Christian upbringing that everyone has experienced to a certain degree if you're born in the West, with what we're experiencing now with this expansion of artistic creativity. You know, and so, I mean, a lot of the conversations that I've been having with people are about these things, about beauty, about photography, film, music, all the things that we are clamoring towards. You know, we can't get enough of this. Like, we can't get enough of creating. I can't get enough of it. But at the same time, I've been trying to figure out how to keep my health, keep my sanity within the economic terrain. You know, it doesn't matter where you are at right now. Everyone experiences their battles with staying alive. You know what I mean? I mean, we're still very visceral creatures, and we need this money to get the food, and we need the money to get the car and the home and all those things. And those are some of the things that I've been trying to facilitate for myself, and why I've been so, you know, busy and on the go. But, you know, sometimes I feel like I need to chill out, you know? So, I mean, I know people around me sometimes tell me that I need to take a break, and I need to tell myself that too. And I try to encourage other people to not necessarily take physical breaks, but mental breaks of trying to understand where it is exactly they are and why they're doing what they're doing. Because you can create good content all you want, but there's something about trying to figure out the physical, physiological, spiritual way of being that reaches to solace, that reaches to, you know, content. You know, I want to be able to feel like I'm content within myself. And sometimes I feel the most content with myself, obviously, when I'm by myself. That's not to say that I'm not an extroverted being and that I don't love people. But at the same time, recently I've been feeling like I'm more and more alone in this, because I'm trying to think about bigger ideas here. And not to say that no one thinks about these things, but I've been thinking about complex intellectual, philosophical, religious questions, theological questions for a long time now. I mean, that's just the truth, and that's just that's just my truth. And you can see it in my writings, you can see it in the stuff I've made in the past. There's trends, there's symbols, there's archetypes within most of the stuff I make. And sometimes I feel like, you know, I want to be patient with what I want to make. I want to make something profound, and it's going to take some time, you know. But this podcast is, like I said, it's going to be a compilation of conversations. One with Sin and one with my homie Madison. So, and I'm going to splice some music within this, and like I kind of want this to be something you can put on like right before, like while you're just laying in bed, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, most of the time I listen to podcasts, I'll listen to it right before I go to bed. So like you're kind of listening to the conversation, and it's not too, because you start realizing there's a game, you know what I mean? We chilling right now, bro.
I've been searching for that fucking song for so long.
Who's this? Is Chet? Quit lying to me. So yeah. Okay. Let's see.
Future beats. So,
These are kind of nice. Give this shit, bro.
I got you
I was at the mall,
in timeless sounds.
and I was looking at these hoes.
All about
I
you,
looked at the price, and I'm like, oh shit, they're $59.99, the same price as the classics. So I'm like, shit, why would I not buy these hoes?
Right?
You know what I mean?
Bro. They fire. Hey, give me some
And
all
so-
black ones.
Connected to Bluetooth.
I mean, not all black, but like the originals, like black and white. Pay my motherfucking rent. The motherfucking adult shit is wild, bro.
Adult shit is crazy, bro.
I like it though. Like even 23, we're adults.
It just forces you to hustle at this point. Like that, like you remember when you was younger and we was like either in high school or whatever, and we legit didn't have no responsibility. You know, like legitimately we was just like we ain't gotta do nothing right now. But like as soon as you start getting older, you're like, oh, turns out like if I don't do something, I'm gonna be on the street. And that's just the way it is, you know. So what y'all been doing? What y'all got going? What you got going, bro? They talk too much.
First and foremost, I'm Madison, formerly known as Mitchell Adams, Mr. Adams, the poetic prince. I've been on one today. It's a hell of a good Sunday. Hell of a long week. The hectic world and life and times of a fucking artist. But that shit is beautiful. I've been chilling.
So what you think about beauty, bro? I know you captured beauty in the past, so what is your thoughts about beauty, my G?
Yo, I was actually talking about this earlier this week, but even earlier today too, with the shorty. We all got some sort of sense of a blessing, you know. Some got the ears for the sound, you know, music production. Some got the tongue, lyricism, you know, musicians, artists. Then you got the ones who are blessed with the eyes. And to have that type of perspective of beauty, but be gifted with it in a sense where it grows naturally like a seed that was planted. When it blossoms and blooms over time in the way that you perceive beauty as it transforms, transgresses, and then it's no longer diluted. You realize beauty is messy, but as it is messy, it is damn near perfect. You can have duality within the sense, but multidimensionality within the whole entirety of beauty. That craziest part is that when you come upon this type of revelation, you then begin to realize that it's not only in just, you know, characters that surround us, but the entirety of our lives. Little details, the smaller palettes that are put together to form the bigger picture of this, like, you know.
I mean, like the interconnectedness of everybody?
Like the whole concept of beauty,
yeah. Would you say, are there standards?
I mean,
sometimes I feel like that.
Everyone has a personal level of beauty, I feel like, but that's why, and the main reason why it is so differentiated. It's spread out. That's where that multidimensionality comes from, because people connect to beauty through senses of like-minded understanding or taste, and then there's some who they just see things a bit more differently or stretched and abnormal that relates to handfuls of people. But I think the crazy part is, even though we all internationally like connect with beauty, everyone has different like things that really make them tick.
Yeah. And that enters into like even like fetishes at that point.
Like what's more fetishized to one person could be just complete bleak to someone else. Like, oh, that's
or kind of nasty.
But still, even if it's something that they don't appeal to, there's something that they do appeal to.
Yeah.
And that's the wild part, you know. With beauty, it just has its strangest forms, and it's endless. There's no actual concept or like set in stone understanding of what beauty is. It's like right there next to love. Everyone has some definition of it, but there's no set like this is what it means.
Yeah. Do you got standards, my G? Keen?
I'm sorry.
You got standards of beauty?
You like Brett Fayette?
He said like Brett Fayette. You gonna be serenading.
I agree with Maddie. It comes in forms. It's never strictly appearance-wise. I believe beauty can be felt. I feel like there are a lot of people that walk around with ugliness inside that are searching for beauty. If that kind of correlates to answer the question.
But they diminish what they can't, or they try to diminish or tarnish the image of what they can't control or simply like leech off of regarding that beauty. Not like they're intentionally trying to suck it dry, but they become so fixated and drawn into and by this particular force to obtain it that they just don't actually have. It drives me insane almost to the point of just trying to destroy it in everything around me. Just thought about that. Anything about that till you said that.
Yeah.
It's just quick, natural.
Well, I mean,
Shout out Alpha Brain. Own it.
oh yeah, shout out on it for real though, bro. The total human optimization, bro. Fire, bro. If y'all ain't in y'all workout game, y'all gotta get on it. You know, I know people at their stages, you know, but you know, trying to get active.
You're also
Trying to get active.
you know what I mean? You know, sex is extra.
Oh, you think the Alpha Brain gonna help you out with the in the boom boom room, bro?
You know, he even said fucking for Target Sports.
Oh shit, bro. Do you ever burn in here, like with the door open or no?
I never have.
If we like kick it right here, do you want to do that? Or no? Alright, we're gonna burn up, you know. That's probably what's gonna happen a lot on this podcast, I ain't gonna lie.
Anyway, what y'all think about these premium hoes?
The what?
OnlyFans accounts.
Like shit. Nah, bro, I ain't got nothing on me. I mean, they doing what they doing to make their bread. They right in the game.
What are you talking about, the like the influencers or whatever?
Nah, like premium shit, bro. They want to sell nudes and stuff.
Oh, okay. I see. I don't be messing with them bitches. Oh shit, that helped fun.
Oh yeah, Greg, I want that here. Hold on. Let me put something. I'll put something out there real quick. You done the dash. Shut the fuck up. There's something fucking mooses be making.
Oh, the sun is going.
You said the sun gone, you like it, bro? I don't know, bro.
I love when the sun is out, but there comes a point where I'm like, hey, yo, some shade would be nice too. Balance.
For sure, you know. I'm just too much of a sunny guy myself, you know.
I'm going more into the taste for it just because I'm so over this cold shit. Like,
I'm so over the cold shit.
so over cold shit. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is the point? Anymore. Why is it cold in February, my nigga?
I don't know, bro. It ain't even February no more. It's March 1st, bro.
Real talk. Pay my motherfucking rent. The motherfucking adult shit is wild, bro.
Adult shit is crazy, bro.
I like it though. Like being 23, we're adults.
It just forces you to hustle at this point. Like that, like you remember when you was younger and we was like either in high school or whatever, and we legit didn't have no responsibility. You know, like legitimately we was just like, we ain't gotta do nothing right now. But like as soon as you start getting older, you're like, oh, it turns out like if I don't do something, I'm gonna be on the street. And that's just the way it is, you know.
Oh shit. We might have to smoke that bitch outside.
It's out too much.
No, we ain't just traveling this way.
Yeah. We can smoke it outside. You go outside, G? I wonder what the audio is gonna sound like.
Bro, feeling good.
So what you been up to, bro?
Whole lot of fucking everything. To be honest. Elaborate. Dude, I've had a new mixtape. You know what? I ain't even gonna fucking.
You got a new mixtape? Or this man got a mixtape?
Hell nah.
He ain't got no mixtape. Shut the fuck up.
Hell nah. I'm dropping my EP on motherfucking.
Hell no.
Bro. It's crazy, bro. Honestly, we're gonna start chapter 1 off romantics. Funny shit of this week. I done dabbled in an unexpected blessing. Like, well, I guess a handful of blessings. I got these fine ass shorties. One annoying as hell, but the rest is fun as fuck. As they've come and been canceled or stayed remain or under, you know, whatever experimentation that we're going through.
Mm-hmm.
I just, like, 5 of these shorties all trying to be in a relationship. I'm just like, I'm like, what kind of fucking shit is this? I'm like, you know what, usually I recluse, step back. And I was like, no, nah, let me have some fun with this. We're 23.
You gonna fuck up everybody's hearts and shit?
Yes.
Is that moral? Because, I mean, it's not like we had, like, either of us haven't done that. And everybody, I feel like most people.
Look, no matter how great of a man I become, I'm not going against my belief in the basic instincts that monogamy is man-made. Fuck that shit.
You think it's man-made?
Fuck yeah. Listen to this shit, nigga. And this came off my brain last night when I was talking to this shorty. I was drunk at the bar and I was like, listen. I was like, let me just conclude this conversation of monogamy with this. No one on earth said that Adam and Eve were together. They were created together, put there together. Didn't in no way did it say that these two were romantically involved, nor were they going to be the beginning of like humankind.
Yeah, but were they even meant to be partners though?
That's
I
what
thought
I'm
they
saying.
were.
No one said that shit.
But what I'm saying though is like, I guess what you mean by man-made, meaning like it kind of gradually throughout society, as agriculture came along, everybody got more stationary. It was like, okay, now you settle down.
It was more
like, you know what I mean? Like now you.
It was like a conservativist, man-made belief that like you belong to one woman or one man. Like, who the fuck said that? You tell me why somebody else has the urge to go fuck with a whole bunch of people right now. In comparison to how strong that is to that of someone who is faithfully loyal to one person that they just want to be with. The strength comes in both forms. But I'm like, no one said they were supposed to be set in stone. And so for me, with my belief, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and have fun with this. 23, young, indulgent. I look back on it with insight and hindsight. If some shit goes
I
sideways.
agree with that.
If some shit goes sideways,
Just because I feel like marriage doesn't solidify anything, you still cheat.
over a piece of paper that you got to pay for. And then
But
pay more
but
for
is
if
it
you
the
gotta
fact that like maybe what if the society is just giving up?
That's
Like, you know what I mean? Like
that's
everybody's
what's
just
happening.
giving up on this idea of loyalty, on this idea of a long-term relationship,
Nigga.
because of the fact that everybody's all obsessed with, well, because everybody's all obsessed with their own hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's okay. I get it, but
Yo.
maybe we should bring that back. Not to say that I'm the advocate for that, because I've never been fairly loyal myself, but there's something to like, wanting to make the effort. At least the effort is being made to a certain degree. Instead of no effort
So tell me, what do I want? Oh, tell me, what do I need? I said the world ain't what it seems. Am I living in a dream? I told the past I was saved, but I didn't even know the meaning. So confused with all the hate, connected to these people without Jesus. So what you say now? So what you say now? So what you say now? Oh.
So what's up with the Ram? Why do you like the Ram?
I wouldn't say I like it. When you see it and the horns and it looks outrageous, the first thought is the devil or
Something of a darker nature.
a darker nature because it just looks creepy. Like
Yeah.
why is the goat associated with the devil to begin with?
That's a good question.
It just stems through like pagan thoughts. They would sacrifice the lamb,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the lamb is you can get so much from the lamb. Milk, the meat, the sheep, the wool, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Clothe yourself, all that shit.
You could feed your family for a whole month.
Real shit, bro. You be the shepherd, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I put this image on the crotch because in my eyes, I want to associate the truth with fantasy.
I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, that's what storytelling is. That's what literature is, I mean, I'm writing it, like, I'm adapting this novel called Love by this lady named Angela Carter, and she was a fiction writer, like in Britain, in like the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
But she did adaptations on the Grimm fairy tales, but they were more like erotic, like sexual adaptations.
Okay, I think you were telling me this.
Yeah, I was telling you about this. So this is like where you kind of walked to me on when I was at Wild Detectives.
Yeah.
I was writing like within the perspective of the main character Lee, or one of the main characters, who's an art teacher, an art professor at a university in London,
Right.
and he studies literature. So just overall the humanities. But he's kind of like talking about his fascination with more the erotic side of things, and why he's fascinated with this girl who he meets, who ends up becoming his wife, Annabelle. And Annabelle's more innocent. She's playful. She's kind of blissfully ignorant and kind of like floating through the world, as opposed to some of the girls he's seen that like are his students or faculty.
So his wife is less aware?
His wife is more pure, but less aware at her holiness, at her divinity.
Right, and because she lacks that knowledge, it almost gives her of being ignorant is bliss.
Yes, it's like pure.
She's happy because she's not thinking about.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say she's happy. Like within the book, it's like she's happy yet lost and depressed at the same time. If that makes any sense.
Because
like
she's unaware?
Because she's unaware. So like she's kind of going off the whim of this man at this point. Because she's a virgin. And so Lee takes her virginity. And it's the innocence of her that like he is attracted to. You see what I'm saying?
And once she became impure, he just basically said, fuck you.
He doesn't say fuck you. He just gets interested in other women.
Right.
He gets interested in other women. He even gets interested in psychiatrists, bro. Here, come take this, bro.
Yeah, bro. I don't know. Do you think humans were meant to be with one person their entire life?
Fuck, man. I mean, look.
It's possible.
Yes,
It's
of course.
possible.
I mean,
if you want it to be
history.
possible, it's possible. But monogamy is monogamy. That might
Is
be
it though? But I mean, there's another understanding, or at least another hypothesis that within our DNA is to be polygamous.
Polygamous.
Yes, to be to have multiple partners at the same time. And this is traditionally within, like, when it comes to like have you heard of this man named Chris Ryan who wrote a book called Sex at Dawn by any chance? So he writes this book called Sex at Dawn at this point probably like 5 years ago, and he kind of like does an anthropological study on and it kind of has like a Darwinistic perspective, an evolutionary perspective on human sexuality, and he kind of points out the fact that like when we were hunter-gatherers, there really wasn't any room for monogamy because the man would be polygamous because he could be, and then on top of that it was like the whole group, because they ran in like small communities.
Right.
The whole group was responsible for the children, not just one individual. So as agriculture comes along and we start being able to become more stationary, we don't have to rely on hordes of people protecting each other again, whether it be a woman being the bearer of a child and the man having to go hunt and all these different things that we've done in the past as human beings. We started to become more stationary, and that stuff was no longer necessary. So you could settle down, raise a family, and the family and the community becomes smaller and smaller and smaller as we become more industrialized and as we enter into the Anthropocene, which is the era we're in now, after the Industrial Revolution, specifically within America, like the whole Rockefeller movement when it comes to like basically, expanding the whole American dream. Like that is the epoch of like pure industrial man, technological man. But at the same time, technological man has been polluting itself ever since then to a heightened degree. We've always been carbon-based life forms in like, carbon intake, oxygen intake, carbon outtake. But we're like making it like it's it's expanding at a rate that we can't even comprehend, because now we're so within it with the technology that we can't get out of it. Meaning, you know, like, so everyone's very individualistic to a heightened degree, more so than almost any era, at least in my opinion, because you have to be within the social terrain.
Right, evolution.
And so like, you know, we live in these large societies where it's like, yes, we have people we know, we have friends we know, like we're interconnected in ways we can't necessarily comprehend, yet at the same time our influence is small compared to the influence of great men before us. Even the great men and women now are in the shadow of the great men and women in the past.
Exactly.
And we're always in the shadow of this, and we're trying to at least resurrect it again.
Right.
With our own expression. Because we borrow from other people. We borrow from other, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Being an artist, it's okay to.
I wouldn't say borrow, influence.
Influenced by. That's a good way to put. But then again, sometimes it is borrowing. Like an example of like rap music. Like rap music and improv and jazz music traditionally has been about sampling. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you sample a record and you spit on the record. You know what I mean? So like it's not just you, it's you in combination with another man, with another man's soul, with another woman's soul, whoever it may be that wrote that piece of literature, that made that piece of music, that painted that painting, that made that texture.
Yeah, the most impact you will have on individuals is